In the summer of 2010, a game was released which would come to alter the course of my life. It was a game which was vast, and immersive, and deep, and left an impact on me to this day. The game I'm referring to, if you've read the title, is of course Halo Reach, the oddball prequel to a family of 3 landmark titles before it, an ODST, which I'll talk about at some point in the future. While some at first saw this game as the controversial follow-up to what was otherwise a blemishless trilogy of games, the fanbase eventually came around, and Halo Reach is now considered to be a classic. From its innovative progression system, to its landmark Forge development, to its timeless multiplayer, which has its problems, but has aged like the finest of wines. Halo Reach has proven itself over time to be a worthy send-off for Bungie, and a true love letter to their many adoring fans. Now, being the young Padawan that I am, I wasn't around for the glory days of Halo, not the launch of the original Xbox, the late-night releases of Halo 2, or the legendary marketing campaign for Halo 3, not even Halo Reach, which came out the very same year I turned 4. I was late to the party, only really getting into the series around 2013 to 2014, when I had just become old enough to play. My family, you see, had this crappy little Xbox 360 back in the day, which was busted and would later succumb to the Red Ring of Death, as many other brave souls were lost. We would share this Xbox among the 3 of us, me at age 7, my brothers at ages 12 and 14. So as you can imagine, gaming in general for me at that time was a struggle, because I rarely had a chance to use the Xbox myself without my brothers around. In those days, I spent a lot of time just watching them play, enjoying them game. They'd play Black Ops 2 and Minecraft, Skyrim and Skylanders, but one day they brought home a copy of Halo Reach, and that game in particular changed my entire life. From the first moment, the opening cutscene, I was enthralled, immersed in the world of Marty O'Donnell, in the music of Halo, in the imagery of space, and an endless void stretching forward. It was inspiring, intriguing for me. At first, my brothers spent time just going through all the menus, experiencing the game for the very first time. And as they did, I watched them, setting it all up, clicking through the loading screens and armor customizations. As a young kid obsessed with new things, I fell in love with the atmosphere of the game screens, the Forge mode, that Halo personality. But I think above everything, I fell in love with the score, the music which made the game so unique to me. It was alien, otherworldly, yet somehow unmistakably rooted in humanity, in our depth and complexity, and in our future as an interplanetary species on the edge of decline. I wouldn't call myself the biggest critic when it comes to music, nor the biggest fanboy. I never played an instrument growing up. I've never been as deep into music and concerts as most people I know. But the music of Halo to this day lights something up in my mind that nothing else seems to. It unlocks some sort of emotion that nothing else quite taps. From the imagery you're first greeted with as you start up the game, to the loading screens which you swipe through, all guided by this song from your childhood which never seems to change. For weeks after we got it, my brothers would play the game religiously. School nights, Saturday mornings, it didn't matter. They were addicted, and so was I, completing achievements, grinding the multiplayer, and getting better and better at the game. By this point, I'd still yet to really play it myself. We only had 2 remotes, so I was watching them play Infection or Griffball, and it got boring eventually. But for whatever reason, in an uncharacteristic fashion for my brothers at the time, they began to play the campaign one night. And this is where the story of Halo Reach really begins. I'd like to start this video essay on the true meaning of Halo Reach out with an exploration of the game setting, the planet of Reach, because I think to truly understand what the game is all about, you need to understand the stakes, understand what all the fighting is really for. As the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said famously, "He who has a why can bear any how." And although in a vacuum you can find any number of reasons to sympathize with the story of Halo Reach, I believe that the truest why, the reason we're meant to care, is partly tied up in the setting, in the atmosphere of Reach, and in what it represents for humanity as a whole. Because although this story is about us, about Noble Six and the Spartans defending the planet, I'd argue more than anything, what this story represents is a cultural moment in the Halo universe, a turning point in the war, a significant loss, or a tragedy even. As a great writer once told me, to make an audience care, you can't just tell them the heroes are fighting to save the world. You have to show your readers why that world is worth saving. And this, in a way, is the keystone to understanding the personal journey of Noble Team and the greater context of the game. You see, I agree in a way with the idea presented by Actman in his video on the Halo Reach campaign, where he says that this is a story not necessarily centered upon its characters, but upon its setting. This style of storytelling is rare, and so it's often misunderstood by the general fan base, but to grasp the motivations and sacrifice of our heroes, you really have to understand what was intended in the creation of the world we're inhabiting and exploring throughout. You have to understand why Reach is worth fighting and dying for. To put it another way, let's compare two very different pieces of media and how they go about establishing stakes in a similar way. On the one hand, I'd like to bring up Justice League from 2017, a movie that is, in many ways, the opposite of what Halo Reach achieves. Justice League presents a world-ending threat. An alien warlord named Steppenwolf aims to destroy Earth. But the problem is, the world our heroes are trying to save feels vague and empty. We never really see the people, the cultures, or the daily lives that would be lost if Steppenwolf succeeds. The cities and landscapes feel like generic backgrounds for big CGI battles, rather than places full of meaning and history. And so because of this, the stakes feel abstract. The heroes themselves are just meaning, their relationships shallow, and there's no emotional connection between them and the world they're fighting for. Steppenwolf's motivations are generic and unexplored, making the threat feel distant and unimportant. Now compare that to Avatar: The Last Airbender. The world of Avatar is rich and deeply textured. 4 distinct nations, each with their own cultures, histories, and struggles. When war threatens the world, it's not just some abstract idea. We see how it affects families, villages, and entire peoples. We feel the loss, the hope, and the struggle because the world feels alive and real. In Avatar, the stakes are personal as well as global. The characters carry their nation's histories with them. Their battles aren't just about winning, but about preserving identities, cultures, and ways of life. The world is worth saving because it's lived in, full of people we care about. Many storytellers feel like they can get away with vague goals, world-ending stakes, while forgetting to make us care by grounding the threat in a world that feels lived in and worth fighting for. To truly make a story about saving the world resonate, you need to show why that world matters, why it's worth the sacrifice. And that's something Halo Reach does masterfully from the start. From the very first moments of the campaign, we're shown Reach. Not at its height, not before its decline, but as it's left, as it becomes after the Covenant are finished. The tone is bleak and hollow. There's ruins of ships, a battlefield left behind, scars on the landscape. All of it plays cinematically as the very first scenes of the game. And I think that's intentional. Before the Spartans are introduced, before our heroes, it's Reach which is center. We're made to see the results of war, of glassing. Then the cut to your helmet, broken and battered, just another part of the landscape. From the start, you're told just how things are going to end. Something about this cutscene always stuck out to me when I was younger, and it was the juxtaposition between this scene and the next one. Not the moment with your helmet, before Noble 6 puts it on, but the landscape, the foliage. Reach was a beautiful planet before the Covenant, rich with life and foliage and snow, but after the glassing, after the war, nothing is left. No snow, no people, not even Spartans. No plants or trees, not even grass. This opening scene shows a dry wasteland, too inhospitable for life of any kind, whereas the following depicts a savanna, an ecosystem with millions of little lives, be it trees, ants, or birds. We ride in a warhog across this landscape, introduced to the planet by Envoy. Although it's never explicitly said, it's heavily implied that Noble 6 was new to Reach at the start of the game.
Welcome to Reach.
The original Spartan 2 program was headquartered there, along with a large portion of the UNSC military. And so for the Spartans in general, but especially 2s like George, Reach is important, even home for some.
5 months ago, they pulled a similar job on Harmony. Hit a relay to take out our eyes and ears, then stole 2 freighters from dry dock. That cannot happen here. Reach is too damn important.
Through this opening dialogue between Carter and Colonel Holland, this point is made clear. We're not just told their reach is important, it's demonstrated clearly and obviously through their dialogue. The conversation isn't heavy or overstated, it isn't an info dump, but it does just enough to illustrate a point. We're an outsider, as the silent, mysterious Noble Six. We aren't from here like George, we aren't connected to it like the others, yet despite that, like the rest of them, from the moment we stepped down onto Reach, we had made our home and dug our grave. As Halsey says at the end of the game,
"But you belong to Reach. Your body, your armor, all burned and turned to glass."
only June would end up leaving the planet, so you, like the rest of them, were made to stay and die. But it wasn't for no reason.
Everything. Except your courage. That you gave to us. And with it, we can rebuild.
Reach makes you care not by portraying itself as some vague idea of an alien planet, but by immersing you in its beauty and its grandeur firsthand. Every level of Halo Reach is like its own flavor of the planet you're working to defend. From the very first level, you're greeted with the climate, the wildlife, the vegetation. When the Covenant arrive on Reach, it's treated as a moment of significance, a loss in itself. By this point in the war with the Covenant, most of the outer colonies had already been lost. It was predicted by Oni in 2552 that the Covenant would locate Reach within 5 months of July. They knew what would happen eventually. Humanity knew it was inevitable, yet it was sudden, understated, almost remarkably so. Not even a week after Oni's reports, Noble Team made first contact with the devoted Sentries, a radical sect of the Covenant sent on data mining operations. In this dialogue at the end of the first mission, we see Carter giving his report to Colonel Holland.
What's your situation? Over?
Colonel, this is Noble One. There are no rebels. The Covenant are on Reach. Acknowledge?
Come again, Noble One? Did you say Covenant?
Affirmative. It's the winter contingency.
May God help us all.
And the response he gives is everything the audience needs to understand the stakes. Although Noble Six is an outsider, you can almost feel him grow attached to the planet, its people, or its struggles as the missions progress. Throughout every wide shot of the landscape, the destruction, you can almost see a subtle acknowledgement within him. I believe that when Bungie was developing Halo Reach, they wanted to create a setting as fleshed out as was possible. Throughout every mission, you're shown an aspect of the planet's ecology, or its culture, or the way of life of its inhabitants. In the first mission, we see George interacting with a specific people's group, speaking their language, interacting with the locals. As a kid, I paid this no mind, it flew right over my head. But as I've grown up and paid closer attention, I found online an explanation for all of this. You see, apparently within the lore of the Halo universe, there was at one point a sizable population of Hungarian peoples that settled on Reach. Their culture and influence can be seen in the names of the region. Like in the first mission, the relay area we explore is nearby to a settlement called Visegrad, a city of some sort. Although we don't see this city in game, it's clear by the naming scheme that it was likely settled by these same peoples. From the Azad shipbreaking yards at the end of the game, to the Ba'at Katha ice shelf in Ipaz, all throughout the game, the epistemology of Reach and its history matters, and affects both the micro and macro of our story. George, unlike most Spartan 2s who just have a connection with Reach, was actually born on the planet, and grew up there before his training. So it isn't a surprise that he can speak the local tongue, but this detail isn't just some passing gimmick. It's a major plot point that comes up later at the relay station. When George speaks with the girl from the station, she reveals that the dead scientist we find was her father. This scientist, as Halsey reveals, was working on the project which helped to develop Cortana and save the entire human race. Thus, through very subtle world building, we see how this small Hungarian population, in a specific region of the planet Reach, played a crucial, underrated role in the salvation of all of humankind. Now all of this might seem like the tiniest, most inconsequential analysis, but it goes to show the broader narrative of Halo, how what happened on Reach made an impact on the overall story, and how the layered world building of the planet helps to make the viewer not only empathize with and better understand the local inhabitants, but to see also in a practical sense the importance of the planet and its people, and how they're a keystone to pushing back the Covenant just as much as the Spartans. We see this too in a later section, when Noble Six and June come across a civilian militia defending their land. They have stolen guns and engage in illegal activities, but they're human and Reach is their home, and they fight alongside Spartans to defend it. That's a small detail, barely important, basically unnecessary for the overall narrative. Remove these companions and the mission will barely change, but they were added intentionally. It was a choice by the developers, a conscious choice, and one of many made intelligently to build up the connection to the planet and its people. It doesn't stop at the triumphs of humanity though. Throughout the campaign we're shown clearly just how much suffering they've endured. In the first mission we see a torture chamber, with military casualties strewn up and around. On Exodus we see brutes harassing and killing civilians in exaggerated, gladiatorial fashion. There are refugees escaping all throughout, corpses littering every corner of the street. On New Alexandria we see buildings being glassed and burned to the ground, nightclubs and hospitals under invasion, skyscrapers literally collapsing. Throughout the beginning of the campaign we're shown the varied beauty of Reach, but by the end we're shown the tragedy of its fall. The sky is painted red, trees are burning, and glaciers are melting. A detail I always imagined to be deliberate was the placement of Exodus as the final mission of a beautiful planet. Before now we've been shown the beauty of nature, the agrarian Reach under attack, but still intact for the most part. Exodus is the first mission where we see the heart of civilization on the planet. We see the infrastructure and importance. We see the millions of lives that will be lost if we can do nothing to save them. By this point in the story, Reach isn't quite beyond saving, at least in the eyes of the people. The planet still has its spirit, its soul. The crown jewel of New Alexandria is still standing, still fighting. Throughout the mission, you can find a lot of little details which paint a picture of life there. These things are so small most people might miss them, but there's vending machines, wildlife parks, logs washed ashore on the beach. There's a fast food shack selling bird meat, the very same creatures you find at the start of the game. None of these additions were necessary for a character-driven story about Noble Team, but what Halo Reach is truly about is something larger and more significant. Reach is spoken about through other games and expanded lore like 9/11 is for Americans today. Remember Reach is a common phrase. It's graffiti upon the walls of past missions. It's a slogan for propaganda and inspiration in the Halo universe at large. It's marketing material for the game itself in our world. The loss of Reach isn't just some vague defeat. It's a historical event, a tragedy which was remembered in a way that the loss of no other individual planet before had warranted. Even after the glassing and destruction, Reach proves too important to let die, and it's shown in the epilogue how humanity by the end of the war has already begun deglassing, so that Reach may someday flower again and support human life as it had for so many in the past. Now that you understand the setting of Reach and why it's important, I'd like to go through and sort of outline the plot of the game as a whole. Obviously, if you're watching a video essay this long about a nearly 15-year-old game, you probably already have things memorized, so I'll be quick, but I want to re-examine and look carefully at what's actually going on. After so many playthroughs, it's easy to mistake the forest for the trees, and I myself can sometimes miss the nuance of the story if I'm not attentive enough. So a little background before we begin. You don't need to understand the entire expanded lore of Halo, with ancient humanity and the Forerunners and whatnot, but an important place to begin is with the Spartan program and the Human Covenant War. This is the real framework for understanding the purpose and meaning of Halo Reach as a story. First, I'd like you all to draw your minds to Noble Team, the organization we're a part of throughout. This is a specific unit of Spartans composed of Cat 2 Spartan 3s and George, a Spartan 2. Although at first people may miss the significance of this, it's important for understanding what Noble Team really is. You see, there are a lot of differences between Spartan 2s and 3s, both in their development and their training. Spartan 2s were typically selected from a set gene pool, a rigorous and comprehensive standard. They were children no older than 6, kidnapped from their families and trained from childhood before the most comprehensive augmentations made available to Oni. Spartan 3s, on the other hand, were typically war orphans, children often ages 6 to 10 whose families had been killed by the Covenant. You see, Spartan 2s were developed before the war, developed against the insurrection and without the pressure of the Covenant banging down their doors. They had more time to do it right, whereas Spartan 3s were more so made out of necessity. They were given a choice, at least on paper, and decided for themselves if what they wanted was to commit themselves to humanity and to revenge. In some ways, this is why we see soldiers like Emil who seem almost sadistic in their enjoyment of war. These children were broken, who had everything taken away by an alien race which was bent on the complete eradication of their species. They knew that in some ways, by committing themselves to that life, by becoming Spartans, they would be heroes of mankind, fighting to preserve their species. Although they wouldn't be remembered or honored or praised, they would be doing something significant, important, at least making some small difference in the salvation of mankind. And so every Spartans 3 we see made their choice, decide on that lifestyle. To quote a series I love very dearly that's sort of close to Halo in the same universe, Red vs. Blue, Leonard Church once said, "It is an undeniable, and may I say fundamental quality of man, that when faced with extinction, every alternative is preferable." So the Spartan 3s were created, selected from a less meticulous gene pool, outfitted with less comprehensive armor and less comprehensive augmentations, and usually sent on suicide missions for the good of mankind. Unlike the Spartan 2s, which fought out in the open with the best equipment and the best odds of survival, Spartan 3s were built to die, made to be sacrificed. Like kamikaze pilots from Japan in our own history, Spartan 3s committed themselves and their lives because they believed in the cause and the mission. They were willing to die if it meant even the slightest of chances at survival, for them or for the species. Among the Spartan 3s, there was a specific designation of children labeled Cat 2s. In other words, Spartan 3s who fell into the same bracket or category as Spartan 2s, passing all the right scrutiny when it came to their genetic breakdown, family history, and field training. Some Cat 2s were even candidates for the Spartan 2 program, but were overlooked in favor of different options. What's important to understand is that although Noble Team is built up of all Spartan 3s aside from George, all of them were Cat 2 Spartan 3s, even assigned with full Mjolnir armor. They were each elite soldiers who would survive their own suicide missions as Spartan 3s time and again, until they were eventually made into their own special unit of sorts, given real Spartan armor, more important in strategic missions, and higher mortality rate than the average. So, Noble 6 arrives on planet after the previous Noble 6, Tom A293, dies in combat. The rest of Noble Team was already there on deployment under Colonel Holland, but Noble 6 comes from elsewhere and links up with the team before a mission they have near Visegrad. Apparently, a relay outpost meant to send important communications to their colonies had been deactivated, and the soldiers they had sent to investigate had gone missing. At first, it was assumed to be rebels, since they'd done something similar in another colony called Harmony, where they deactivated communications before stealing 2 freighters, which is basically a spaceship. Oni disagrees with Colonel Holland, claiming the deployment of a Spartan team is unnecessary and over the top, but due to this previous experience, Colonel Holland disagrees and assigns Noble Team to get the relay back online. From the moment the Covenant first land on Reach and make contact with the Noble Team, they move quick. Immediately after the incident at Visegrad Relay, and after obtaining the information they'd been searching for there, the devoted sentry begin their assault on Sword Base, looking for a way to access the Foreigner artifacts buried under the site. Thanks to Noble Team, the Covenant are temporarily pushed back, and for a while there's no sign of them, until nightfall. Here, Noble 6 and June discover a massive Covenant invasion force, stealthily deployed by a cloaked Covenant supercarrier in lower Earth orbit. The UNSC takes direct action, striking first and striking fast. Tip of the Spear picks off with an all-out offensive against the Covenant deployment on Reach. Noble Team embarks on a mission to take out a large Covenant spire. The purpose of these spires was to teleport troops down to planet, and to block out and hide the presence of the Long Night of Solace. Although the UNSC didn't know exactly what they were hiding, they did know the spires were concealing troop movements and helping to bring down forces, and so it was necessary to destroy them. Noble 6 does his thing, destroying several AA guns so the human air forces can be deployed nearby, and deactivating the shield which surrounded the spire. Thanks to the lack of air support, the UNSC Grafton is finally able to enter the battle and destroy the Covenant spire with an in-atmosphere Mac blast. Truly a sight to behold. Triumph turns to tragedy though, as the Covenant supercarrier decloaks itself and fires an energy beam through the heart of the Grafton, destroying the ship and annihilating its crewmen. The mission Long Night of Solace picks off in a cave at the start of the Covenant's true invasion of Reach. The UNSC now knows what they're dealing with, the scale of the invasion, and the ever-present threat of the supercarrier in orbit. This ship was unlike anything the UNSC had dealt with, the first CSO-class supercarrier humanity had encountered. This ship was large, 28 kilometers or about 18 miles long. It contained thousands of smaller warships, tens of thousands of Banshees. As far as humanity knew, that was the invasion force, everything the Covenant could muster, and far too much for the UNSC to deal with. So Noble Team devised a plan, get the permission, and begin in execution the 6th mission of the campaign. Noble Team begins by clearing the beaches outside a test site for the experimental Saber program, a powerful spaceship which Noble 6 happened to be a test pilot for. With the slip space drive acquired from the UNSC Savannah, 6 and George board a Covenant corvette, set a course for refueling, and activate their makeshift bomb to destroy the hull of the supercarrier. In the process, George was left behind to detonate manually, because the rig had been damaged. Sadly, despite his sacrifice, backup arrives, an entire fleet of Covenant warships too large to ever be pushed back. Noble 6 is thrown into orbit, re-enters the planet, and makes his way forward on an injured leg towards New Alexandria, the last bastion of defiance on Reach. Although Exodus is an important triumph for humanity, evacuating so many civilians safely, it is by this point that we begin to get a glimpse of the reality of the situation. Through New Alexandria, we see the destruction of a world once bustling with life, the decay of a city once so bright and so beautiful. There's this conversation between Kat and Carter which really cements everything for me.
Sir, that true about Gauntlet Red and Echo teams assigned to civilian evac ops?
Those are senior level communiques.
I hear what I hear. Point is, why put Spartans on defensive deployments?
I need that link to SATCOM, Kat.
Chasing it. But this console's got more shrapnel in it than transceivers. You didn't answer my question.
You want to know if we're losing?
I know we're losing. I want to know if we've lost.
This is the point in the story where we begin to realize that things are hopeless. The Reach enduring and continuing on may be nothing more than a dream. Noble Team is reunited, but it's a family with one less member than they had before. For a while they sit and discuss the situation, but when Colonel Holland calls them on an open line to discuss their next objective, Carter answers and their location is analyzed. When radiation from the nearby glassing deactivates their shields, a lone Covenant Phantom, which had been tracking them, pulls low and takes a shot at Kat through her unprotected helmet. Now 2 Spartans, 2 members of Noble Team, have been killed. The story continues with the remaining team redeployed to Sword Base, sent for a torch and burn operation to destroy what important information is left. When they arrive, however, they find that they were tricked. Dr. Halsey had called them for a different objective. In reality, they were sent to help receive and deliver a package, an AI which is to be brought to the Pillar of Autumn and leave the planet safely. June escorts Halsey to Castle Base as Carter, 6, and Emil continue forward. Their Falcon is under fire. Carter's hurt. 6 and Emil continue forward on foot until they're stopped by a Scarab, which Carter sacrificed himself to destroy. Emil and 6 reach the shipbreaking yards in Azad, clearing the way for Captain Keyes to secure the package and bring it back to the Autumn. Emil is assaulted and killed as he operates an anti-air gun, and so Noble 6 stays behind to ensure the Pillar of Autumn can leave the planet safely. His final moments of peace are spent stoically, looking out at the landscape which will be his final resting place. Although we don't see him die explicitly, as far as we know he does. Every member of Noble Team is killed throughout the events of Reach except for June, who becomes a recruiter for the Spartan Force. The planet is glassed and destroyed, and eventually salvaged as the events of the main Halo games are concluded. So that's the plot of Reach, basically. To some extent, throughout this essay, it may have seemed like I'm spinning my wheels, talking a lot without getting to an actual point, but if you've made it this far, congratulations. This is the payoff for everything I've laid out. The purpose and meaning of this video, and the purpose and meaning of Halo Reach as a game. To start, I'd like to just share some clips with you. This might take a while, but I want you guys to really pay attention and try to follow the theme that's presented throughout.
That cannot happen here. Reach is too damn important.
Not gonna lie to you, Lieutenant. You're stepping into some shoes the rest of the squad would rather leave unfilled.
What's your situation? Over?
Colonel, this is Noble 1. There are no rebels. The Covenant are on Reach. Acknowledge?
Come again, Noble One. Did you say Covenant?
Affirmative. It's the winter contingency.
May God help us all.
Distance is closing on this vessel's refueling track with the Covenant supercarrier. 76 seconds to end point.
So, it's gonna be like that.
Well, I've got good news and bad news. This bird took some fire and our thruster gimbal is toast, which means the only way off this slag heap is gravity.
And the good news?
That was the good news.
At current velocity, 53 seconds to end point.
Yeah. Bad news is, time is fried. I'm gonna have to fire it manually.
That's a one-way trip.
We'll make it sooner or later. Better get going, Six. They're gonna need you down there. Listen, Reach has been good to me. Time has come to return the favor. Don't deny me this. Tell him to make it count.
Slip space rupture detected.
Yeah, we're picking up anomalies too. Are you reading
Slip
it?
space rupture detected.
Multiple Covenant signatures.
Slip space
Does anyone
rupture
have a big...
detected.
They're everywhere.
Slip space
Yeah,
rupture
fuck
detected.
the whole damn Covenant,
Slip
please.
space rupture detected.
Your report will have to wait, Lieutenant. The Covenant are jamming all comms to command. Cat needs your help running a counter-op. It's good to have you back. Sorry I came alone. Make him proud.
Not anymore. Hey, you made it.
It's a regular family reunion. Keep him. I gave him to you. I'll honor him my own way.
George always said he would never leave Reach.
The big man was sentimental.
He gave his life thinking he'd just saved the planet. We should all be so lucky.
Apologies for the unusual security measures, Commander, but the stakes demand it.
Dr. Halsey, casualty reports have you listed as...
Yes, well, as they say, news of my death has been greatly exaggerated. I only wish the same could be said of the rest of Noble Team.
We all do, ma'am.
It may please you to learn that the data module Noble 2 procured from Visegrad Station contained precisely what my scientist promised. A latchkey discovery that has unlocked, at last, the secrets of this excavation.
Not sure I understand.
Your orders were a pretext to bring you to me, and have been overridden. You are here, Team Noble, to ensure the delivery of this vital data to a secure location.
Doctor, our orders are to destroy all sensitive material.
Others will handle the demolition.
I'll need to confirm this new directive with command.
Colonel Holland will be briefed. You belong to Oni now. Before you is an alien artifact neither human nor Covenant in origin, advanced beyond our comprehension, until now. Thanks to Noble 2, the decrypting of its data is nearly complete.
Whatever we're doing down here, we better do it quick.
Have your data ready, ma'am. We're coming to you.
The decrypting process is still underway.
I don't think you understand. We're out of time. If it isn't portable when we reach you, it's gonna get buried.
Bury any of it, and you bury mankind's best chance for survival. Commander, you've been wondering what your Spartans died for? They died for this. Please, buy me all the time you can.
What is this stuff?
Knowledge. A birthright from an ancient civilization. This AI is its custodian, and she has chosen you as her couriers.
Chosen? By an AI?
By this AI, yes. Her measure of you carries as much weight as my own, perhaps more. You are to take her to the UNSC shipbreaking yard in Azad. There, you'll find a Halcyon-class cruiser waiting to get her off-planet.
I understand.
Do you? Mankind is outmatched. When Reach falls, and it will fall, our annihilation is all but certain. Unless we can glean from this artifact a defense against the Covenant. A game-changer. On the level of the conical bullet in the 19th century, or faster-than-light travel in the 23rd.
And what if we can't?
An apt question, if there were somewhere else to place our hope. There is not. Take it, Lieutenant. She has made her choice. Do you have it?
Yes.
Say the words, please.
I have it. Dr. Halsey, Noble 3 will escort you to Castle Base.
I require no escort, Commander.
June, make sure nothing falls into enemy hands.
I'll do what's necessary, sir. Good luck.
You too, Rifleman.
Noble Leader, seek immediate medical attention. Noble Leader, please respond. Please respond. Sierra 259. You are alarming me.
Not sure how long she's gonna stay together. Skies are jammed up anyway. Gotta get you off her, Lieutenant.
Sir,
you don't want to hear it. Get the package to the Autumn.
Done.
Not yet, it's not. Emil, go with him. It's a ground game now.
It's been an honor, sir.
Likewise. I'll do what I can to draw their fire. 6. That AI chose you. She made the right choice.
Good to see you, Spartan. Halsey assured me I could count on you.
Not just me, sir.
They'll be remembered. Cruiser, adjusting heading for the autumn. Noble 4, I need fire on that cruiser or we're not getting out of here. Do you copy?
I have your window, sir.
Bridge, this is the captain. We have the package. Returning to the autumn, over.
Copy that.
Who's next? I'm ready! How about you?
Lieutenant, get aboard! We gotta get the hell out of here!
Negative. I have the gun. Good luck, sir.
Good luck to you, Spartan.
It didn't take long for Reach to fall. Our enemy was ruthless, efficient, but they weren't nearly fast enough. For you had already passed the torch, and because of you, we found Halo, unlocked its secrets, shattered our enemy's resolve. Our victory, your victory, was so close. I wish you could have lived to see it. But you belong to Reach. Your body, your armor, all burned and turned to glass. Everything. Except your courage. That you gave to us. And with it, we can rebuild.
Now then, as I said before, the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche was once quoted as having said that he who has a why can bear any how. Halo may be a fictional universe, with fictional people and fictional problems, but the core story is there. It's real, and it resonates with me on a level I can't explain. When you look at a Spartan like Noble 6, you might see someone cold, quiet, and stoic, a weapon or a machine, like Halo 4 tried to explore within Spartan psychology. But although you wouldn't necessarily be wrong for assuming this about the members of Noble Team, there's a cohesive personal journey our unit undertakes, and one that is shaped by the loss of its members throughout. Noble 6 is a replacement for somebody else that Noble Team has already lost. As Carter said, the rest of Noble Team would have rather not recruited Noble 6 at all, because in a way Noble Team are family, and they couldn't see anyone else filling the role that Tom had played. Noble 6 is a loner, shrouded in black ink, almost inhuman in his silence and stature, but throughout the story we see him subtly developed and fleshed out as a character. We see how the core theme of Halo Reach drives his ultimate sacrifice, as he carries on the legacy and memory of his comrades. At the start, Carter tells him that he was a part of something bigger, that they were a team, and that his life as a lone wolf should be left behind. We don't know much about Noble 6, but we know before Noble Team that he was a headhunter, a Spartan assassin sent on practically suicide missions alone, behind enemy lines. He was someone recruited and raised as a Spartan from a young age, after the Covenant orphaned him and killed his parents. Now he's a part of a squad, something bigger than himself for the first time in his life. He's given better armor, equipment, and chance at survival. He's given a family of sorts, comrades that he might finally learn to trust. Although Noble Six is an outsider, he clearly recognizes the significance of Reach, its importance for humanity, and the scale of the conflict and risk to his species should Reach fall. Spartans aren't machines, they're human. They have fears, hopes, dreams, they have reasons, purpose which drives them forward. Even living the life of a soldier, denied the peace and security of a citizen, Noble Six is someone who committed himself to the defense of mankind, who committed himself to the service and sacrifice of war. Not to be a hero, not for any person or group of peoples in particular, but because purpose is necessary to keep a person going, and after the death of his family and the threat of extinction, an offer like that of the Spartan 3 program was appealing. Sacrifice isn't always about knowing if your death will make a difference. As Carter said, George died thinking he just saved the entire planet, but not everyone is so lucky. In the words of Epsilon at the end of Red vs. Blue,
It was actually Doyle who made me realize something I'd never thought of before. There's so many stories where some brave hero decides to give their life to save the day. And because of their sacrifice, the good guys win, the survivors all cheer, and everybody lives happily ever after. But the hero never gets to see that ending. They'll never know if their sacrifice actually made a difference. They'll never know if the day was really saved. In the end, they just have to have faith.
the hero never gets to see the ending. He'll never really know if his sacrifice meant anything. Yet when faced with something as grave and substantial as the eradication of your species, any sacrifice seems like an inevitable step to prevent obliteration. If a Spartan fails to do his duty, humanity will fall, and he will die regardless. This purpose, this why, is powerful, far more real and undeniable than what most people in our world have to push them forward. It is this purpose which helps to create a Spartan, a soldier so powerful and resilient and steadfast. Throughout the game, we see this desperate last stand of the planet Reach. We see his noble team do their best to turn back the tide of the war. We see his soldiers fight to make a difference for their species. We see sacrifice, and the warriors who carry on the legacy and memory of the fallen. When George dies, Six carries his dog tags. When he approaches New Alexandria, we see him stagger. Without a single word, we can feel what he's thinking. The body language which says more than 1,000 overwritten lines of text. George sacrificed himself for Reach, his home, for humanity, and for his people. He thought he was a hero saving the world, but he was wrong, and his sacrifice will mean nothing if the Covenant succeeded here today in New Alexandria. Six doesn't wait for commands in Exodus. He isn't a machine. He is a servant of his species, and immediately begins assisting the evacuation however he can, searching out citizens. We see him fighting for civilians, restoring hope to the citizenry. Wherever he goes, soldiers are empowered. Their morale is boosted. Throughout the Halo series at large, Spartans are symbols of hope, that things might not be hopeless after all.
Hey, check it out. No way. A Spartan?
For real? You better not be.
No, man, he's here. We're gonna be
Where
all
did you
right.
find him?
Napping, out back.
I'll bet. It's good to see you, Chief.
Likewise, ma'am.
Exodus is bleak, but it isn't quite hopeless. It's a last stand, fighting like hell and kicking as you fall. There are triumphs throughout as you save people, but by New Alexandria we see Six ride alone through the skyline, watching the world around him collapse, realizing the sacrifice of his friend now meant nothing. Noble Team carries George with them. They fight to make his sacrifice worthwhile. As Emil says, they fight to honor him in their own way. George died like a hero, but Kat dies like a martyr, shot through the ear, with no resolution and no pride, already beginning to believe the war was lost. It's sudden, devastating. For the first time we can see the composure of the team visibly breaking down. We hear June's voice crack as they haul her body into the elevator. We see Carter begin to slump as he looks out at the rubble of the city and sees his dead comrade in his arms. The next mission feels bittersweet. Carter's voice over the transmission with Holland sounds destitute, like he's struggling for a reason to go on. The entire team sounds hopeless, even as they continue forward with their mission. All of this comes to a head with the package, where Halsey says what I think is to be the most important line of the game.
Commander, you've been wondering what your Spartans died for? They died for this.
Suddenly the team seems reinvigorated. This is the metaphorical torch, the magic bullet to saving mankind from extinction, and a metaphorical continuation of the sacrifices of the previous members of Noble Team. If 6 succeeds in delivering Cortana to the Autumn, if Cortana can help push back the Covenant and save the human race, then everything the team did and endured was worthwhile, and all of the death and carnage will be seen as heroic and necessary for the salvation of their species. Our heroes fight for the sacrifice of their comrades, for the civilians who died, for all of the human culture and history behind them. 6 is chosen as the carrier. Carter says she made the right choice. In his final moments, he no longer seems down. He no longer seems hopeless. He is inspired, fearless in the face of death. Carter dies as a leader, knowing his sacrifices for the greater good, believing completely in his comrades and believing completely in the purpose of their mission. As he said before about George, believing that they should all be so lucky as to die believing that they had saved the planet, I think in his final moments Carter did believe that his team would succeed, that he was saving the planet, that he was saving humanity when he sacrificed himself. When 6 finally delivers the package to Keyes, Noble 6 mentions his fallen comrades, that they were a part of it, that they participated in that crucial moment of handing over Cortana. Keyes says that they will be remembered. The same phantom that took out Kat spirals around Emil and takes action. 2 elite zealots, members of the devoted sentries, rain down on him. The first overwhelmed and killed, the second impaling Emil, but taken down alongside the Spartan in question. Then this, the most crucial moment of the entire game for me. 6 has fulfilled his duty, delivered the package, and has offered a seat on the Autumn. Had he gotten aboard, he could have made it to Halo, fought alongside Master Chief, and lived in a universe incredibly different from the Halo of our own. But 6 is a soldier, an agent of mankind and its best interest. He thinks nothing of himself, but only of the greater good. Knowing that without air support, the Falcon may very well be destroyed, he stays behind, manning the gun, and helping the Autumn escape in one piece. His final moments are quiet, deliberate. Again, nothing needs to be said, but you can tell what he's thinking. If you look carefully, you can notice his limp hand, coming up to a curl. You can see the way he holds his rifle, the way he stares off diagonally, off into nothing. He's a dead man, and he knows it well. There's no escape, there's no salvation, there's only his sacrifice now, like the rest of his team. 6 had already done his part, already handed off the package, but he doesn't know if it matters. He doesn't know if mankind will be saved. He's alone in a dirt field, surrounded by Covenant, fighting for his life. I'd like to think at this point 6 accepts he's going to die. He knows resistance is futile, but some hatred within him, some resentment about his family and his species, fuels him to fight to the bitter end, to have a last stand and take as many Covenant down with him as he can. His final scenes are haunting, legendary, and tragic. Halsey speaks at the end of the game and delivers a line which sums up the idea of the game for me.
It didn't take long for Reach to fall. Our enemy was ruthless, efficient, but they weren't nearly fast enough. For you had already passed the torch, and because of you, we found Halo, unlocked its secrets, shattered our enemy's resolve. Our victory, your victory, was so close. I wish you could have lived to see it.
6 didn't live to see it. None of the casualties of Noble Team do. But his sacrifice does mean something. Humanity does succeed. It is our victory, your victory, and it is a confirmation of all of the loss and struggle endured by the freedom fighters of the game found throughout. Purpose is what drove that. The purpose to fight for something better, to fight in search of hope, to keep pushing even when you're hopeless, and find something which can inspire you to get up and keep on fighting again. In the lore of the Halo universe, after the fall of Reach, after the end of the Human Covenant War, when Reach is rebuilt, there's a statue of Noble Team, of their sacrifice and their trial, which helped to save humanity. And I think, although none of them expected that monument, it's kind of a beautiful confirmation of what it was all about. That their sacrifice did mean something, that although they didn't know it, they were all dying for the salvation of mankind. If you've made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you. The whole of this video has been scripted except for this part, but I decided at the end I just want to kind of go off script and say how I feel for a moment about this whole experience of making this video and how I feel about Halo Reach as a whole. Honestly, I really appreciate any of you guys who watched this entire thing. I know an hour is pretty long for something like this, and this project has taken me so long that, you know, I don't even know exactly how I feel about it at this point, but it's been the kind of thing that I was pulled and inspired to do simply because of how much Halo Reach means to me as a story. I mean, this is a game that has affected me on a level that, you know, is hard to put into words, really. It's not just a piece of media for me. It's not just something from my childhood, some experience I can go back to. It's like a part of who I am as a person, a part of my soul. I mean, so many experiences I've had in my life, difficult things I've gone through, have been aided by this experience of having played this game growing up and understanding the story and the purpose and the meaning of it as much as I do, enough to make an hour-long video. I mean, when I'm in a really dark place, sometimes I like to look inward and find the example of Noble Team and Noble Six and strive for that purpose that's able to push me through the circumstance I'm in. It's like, if you have a dream, if you have something that's big enough and significant enough that can get you through anything, then it's almost like the challenges of life don't seem quite so overwhelming. Ever since I was a kid, I've wanted to be a published author. I've wanted to create YouTube videos. I wanted to help and inspire people. Like, I really care about human connection. I really care about making some kind of positive impact or difference in the world in any way that I can. In a way, it's like when I'm in the gym or I'm doing something difficult, I'm thinking of the example of Noble Team. I'm thinking about if I was in this situation where I literally had a chance to participate in helping my species, you know, and making the world a better place and fighting and sacrificing my life for that. And it helps me bring a sort of motivation and drive to my life that I don't think I would have otherwise. It's like, you might just call it a game, like a story. It's just something out there in the world that we're participating in that doesn't really have a massive effect on us. But I think media and games in general can be as much as you're willing to take from them. I think that the story of Halo Reach, the story of Noble Team, is something that you can embody within your own life and can help fulfill you as a person. At the end of the day, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna suffer and experience loss and go through hardship. I mean, life is a very difficult thing at times, and sometimes it requires having a reservoir of wisdom to pull from to get through that. For me, during some of the darkest periods of my life, whether it be this piece of media or others like it, I was able to endure because of the examples I'd had. You know, it's like fiction is, in a way, a window into our own reality and helping us persevere through similar hardships. Maybe we're not literally fighting a battle for the salvation of our species, but we're fighting our own battle of being alive and being human and trying to figure out what we want to do with our time spent here on this rock. It's like, no one is given, you know, a lifetime here. No one is given an unlimited space of time in which to experience this life as who they are. And so, in a way, like, although it's not as pressing as if you're really fighting for your life, life is fleeting. It is disappearing. You are in a battle in some way. And I think that when you live with that presentness, when you realize that, you know, tomorrow might not be guaranteed, whether that be for you or for the people you love, then maybe you can live a little bit more presently and find more gratitude for the life that you have. Maybe what it takes sometimes is being able to look outward and experience things like this and learn from them. And at least for me, that's done a lot of good. So if this video has helped you, like, see Halo Reach in a new way, like see the game story in a new way, or helped broaden your perspective on, you know, life in general, or you came away from this video being helped in some slight way that maybe when you're confronting your own challenges in life, you'll be a little bit more equipped to deal with them, then that's all I can hope for. You know, that makes my life, that makes my subjective experience and interpretation of this media valuable, because it means that in some way, at least someone out there has been helped or aided by me in some way. And honestly, that's what I care about more than anything. That's what I live for. That's what this is all about. And to everyone who stuck around and watched this whole video, I want you to know that in a way you're supporting my dreams. Like, I don't want to get into it too much, but I've been doing a really hard job on the other side of the country doing door-to-door sales for the last few months, and I haven't been working on my YouTube channel very much. But I had a vision to come back and make video essays. Before, I was just doing kind of like commentary videos over gameplay, because ultimately the goal of this channel is to help people, and I thought that was the most direct way. But this is kind of a new vision I have, and it's unproven, and you know, part of me is a little bit anxious about how well this is going to do, because I put so much effort into it. So any of you guys who are willing to stick around and support me to this point, like, you're a G, and I appreciate you. And there's going to be more stuff to come. It's not necessarily going to be about Halo, though there may be some Halo content coming, but really this channel is going to become more of a place where I, you know, share media that has affected me, and I talk about my subjective experience with it and what you can learn from it, whether it be different TV shows or games or books, and kind of break it apart in a way that maybe no one else has done yet. So that's what this is about, and if you guys are interested in that, maybe stick around and watch my future content. But I appreciate all you guys, and this is where I'll leave you off. So